Welcome to Still Plays Galaxy of Heroes. This is a new concept, Grand Arena for the alt account as a single video, all 3 rounds edited together. A lot of you have asked for this Grand Arena footage. I had other ideas that I wanted to do with it, either start streaming on Twitch, add it into the other Grand Arena videos, but those were getting overly long with all the additional teams on defense. I didn't know how I want to do that. This is what we're going to try out for a little bit. Maybe I want to edit the footage to speed it up a little bit so this video is a little faster, but we'll play it by ear and see what we come up with. So right now we're in Bronzium 4. We used to be doing really well under the old Grand Arena system with the way I built out my roster. I'm still creating my roster in a way for testing purposes, emphasizing the Gear 11. It's not what I would recommend that other players do if you want to perform better in Grand Arena. There's a ceiling to how well you can do because of relics. What you really should do is take what I do as a foundation and augment that with key relics, which I've intentionally left off of the roster. So we're going to take a quick look at my roster so you can see where it's at, just in terms of the top end of the gear and the overall GP level. We're ordering it by gear, and then you can just see what has been built out. There's a lot of depth, trying to have as many teams as possible quickly. I'll put out a new account video shortly that updates this. It's been about 1.5 years on that account. Here's the opponent for comparison. You can see a bunch of relics and a much larger GP, 1.5 million more GP, but it gets shallower a lot more quickly. I'm just going to be talking over this footage. Probably shift to a different screen ratio in a moment. We're working with Night Sisters and Ewoks on the front wall. I'm going to go through it pretty quickly so you can pause if you want to look at it a little longer. Sith Empire in Geos. And on the back wall we've got Padme, First Order, and Old Republic. None of them are all that great, but it's about the multitude of options, because what you'll see in a lot of my opponents, unless they have a very large GP advantage, that they get shallow quick. And I think one of the other things that I'm seeing is, I don't know which division is good or bad for this account yet. Like, we're doing Bronzium 4, we're very close to Bronzium 3, I'm hoping we can get there. And I think relative to the accounts we're facing, we're doing well, but I don't know where I should or could be. So we're looking at clones and Night Sisters. And I think we just get started with troopers. It's probably how I would handle it. Yeah. So we're still working on hitting Gear 11, but we got the key pieces at more than usable levels with the right Zetas. Obviously, they'd be a little better at Gear 11, but I use these guys to beat relics on the main account, so this is going to be fine. Yeah, so Night Sisters is obviously a squad I highly recommend. I don't know if I'd be dropping Zetas on them at this level, especially for Daka and Ventress. Those Zetas really make more of an impact at relics. And just when you think about how many good Zetas there are, I would, as much as I love them and recommend players build them out, I would put them off. They're not on this alt account right now. Yeah, that's a good way to handle it. I haven't looked at this since I recorded it, so I don't remember exactly how I approached each of these squads. But you can see, even though this opponent had a lot of relics, he didn't put them on defense, which I guess does and doesn't make sense. One, it would hurt a player like me to be able to beat them. But then, because a player at that level is probably a little bit more shallow on relics, it's probably going to make their offense more difficult against opponents that are closer to their level. And I for this week, I don't go 0-3. Sometimes I'll go 1-2. Sometimes I go 2-1. It's kind of all over the place. But I've been climbing up because for basically since Thanksgiving, I was burnt out, so I held off on playing this account too seriously, which is why the new account series was on hiatus for a bit. We did week 52 update, and then we're due for another update. I gotta check how many weeks it's been though, but probably around week 80. So we got Droid and Older Public team on the back. Well, this is some weird stuff. No leadership on the top one. I don't remember if I got through this or not. I think I did. It would have been nice to have Jedi Knight Revan for this. Okay, that's a good call. Doesn't work though. Mara Jade is something I'm actively working on. Let's shift to another screen. Just the synergies here with Mara Jade, Palp, and Vader are so good that all the Starkiller requirements have really boosted up in my priorities. I'm going to get out a farming guide. I've got most of the work done. Just making that video is going to take a while. But I've had a lot of progress on it for a while. But we're way overdue for that one. We're way overdue for a lot of things. Hopefully soon we hit monetization, so it's a lot easier for me to spend a lot of time on this channel. Right now it's nights and weekends, and I don't work a 9 to 5, so it's my nights start when my other work is done, which is not always at a productive hour. Yeah, you see everyone's on stun lock. We got stagger from Mara Jade, bring everything down, which makes all these relics meaningless. This is why I emphasize characters and synergies matter. Kits matter, because those will trump gear. And that's like one of the big cornerstones of my approach and philosophy towards the game. And why I am not scared of single shard drop characters. It is about the quality of the character. Who cares about the stars? And newer characters have better kits. These are just easier options. I don't know what to decide here. And we will show the results after each one of these. I have no idea what I would have picked here. That's a good call. Bounty Hunters is good. Can prevent revives. Without the Zeta, Jango Fett is a much better leader. Even with the Zeta, it's pretty easy to argue Jango's the better lead. But without the Zeta, it's no contest. And for that, what I mean is a non-Zeta Jango is arguably better than a Zeta Bosk. I always preferred it, partly because JTR hard counters Bosk, but it is a gamble up against Jango. Yeah, we're just working on getting a little closer. Grief is here because of the plague to keep everyone alive. And the gear on these characters is not great. They're not even at max abilities. It's something I'm actively working on in this account. Is first I focused on farms and shards. Then I worked on gear a little bit more focused after the first year. But the big limiting factor is those purple ability mats. Especially as I'm trying to build out depth as quickly as I can. That is one of the big breaks. Great. I remember that happening. We could speed this up in the future. Right now this is at normal speed, but we could do 1.5 speed. Maybe we'll do that as maybe in like the third match. And we can do a A/B test and see what you guys think of how to showcase these fights. Because I don't know if we need to show these at normal speed. This doesn't even matter. Gear level is the only reason that I go for CLS. Oh, am I spreading it out? Yeah, that's a fine call. No, I second guess myself. Go right back to it. Just go for the firepower. The other squads aren't good enough. There is that Ewok team, though. Yeah. The thing is, with this alt, I'm not facing a lot of accounts around my GP level, so it makes me feel like we're doing pretty well with it in a Grand Arena context. But I feel like with relics, we would... I mean, bronzing 1's not out of the question. There's just certain things I can't counter or beat right now in terms of relics, which is the problem. Pretty soon, though, we'll get past it. Like, one of the things that is very common to go up against is a relic Kylo. That's pretty hard right now for this account. But as soon as I've got Traya, right now that squad is... They're all farmed, but they're all Gear 8, Gear 9, and not all the abilities are maxed out. And definitely no Zetas. But once that squad's at Gear 11, we can handle Relic Kylos. So it's another thing why I'm not overly concerned with Relic levels in a lot of cases. That team is junk. Like, you see how quickly players get shallow. Like a Cody squad with a gear, what is that? 5? 4? I think that might be a 4 Sarge. Go after Ark because he's the only threat. He's the highest gear and he has that assist. Oh, I undersized this because there's the quest I keep forgetting about, and I finally remembered it one of these times. Because you get I don't remember if you get crystals, but you at least get a little bit of gear. A little bit of credits. I need to do that more often. Each one of these is about 15 minutes each round. So this video will be like 45 minutes-ish, probably 50 minutes. If we leave everything at normal speed. I don't know if we will. I just don't know if we play it fast, maybe the battles will go too quickly to have a conversation about them. I'd like to get the Zeta on Nest. Malik's one where I only have one of the Zetas, the one that procs the drain life at the thresholds. But I don't have the Fear Zeta, and after playing with him for a couple weeks, I definitely want that Fear Zeta. There's a number of counters that aren't possible without it. Like some of the first order ones, I think you'll see it in one of these later matches, don't work out because we're not applying fear. And you can see how none of these Ewoks are being stopped right now. No fear's getting applied. It's really a Zeta that is worth putting on. If you have Malik, there's no reason not to put it on. Other than purple ability mats are really tough to come by. It's just there's no shortcuts to it. You just got to grow your account through it. Really, it's not even a shortcut. The only way to there's no shortcuts. You just gotta get through it. We gotta mute these battles. I guess I don't need to mute these battles. Maybe I muted them during the record. If I were to speed them up, we would have to mute them because that sounds awful. And one of the advantages on this account is I almost always have the fleet advantage. I have a usable rebel fleet on defense, and I've got the malevolence on offense. And I'd say we had 3 million GP about 3 weeks ago. I've been slow on applying other resources just because there's only so many squads you can do. Like, I can at this point probably take additional characters up to gear 11, but I don't have the purple ability mats. So right now I'm just in another cycle of hoarding resources. One of my active farms, I'll talk more about this in the new account video next time I release one, which will hopefully be soon. I'm farming the ships, all of the finalizer and radish ships, because this is actually a pretty good time where I have most of the farms done, but I don't have the credits, mats, and gear to work on all the squads that I have farmed up. So this is a good time to farm those ships because you don't want to delay the Radis and Finalizer. Getting them to 7 stars is going to take months upon months. That you want to start that early. So it's something that I don't think is recommended all that often, and I think should be part of farming guides, is you need to work towards Radis and Finalizer way before you need them. Delaying them is really going to hurt you later on. Especially if you're a good player, you're going to climb up into Kyber quick. Now, here we go with Hobo Joe. Not going to show the defense again, that remains unchanged. We got Iden, Padme. Okay, I remember a little bit about this match. There are things I could have done for this to have gone much better that I learned from that I'll implement in the future. But you can see he's got some solid relics on the front wall that are going to make things pretty complicated for me, and you'll see the limitations by not having certain counters available and certain relics available. Jedi Knight Revan's going to be pretty tough to deal with the characters and options I have, especially without only having Darth Revan on defense. I muted for a second because a bus was driving by. So you can see, like, this would be a decent counter, except at the gear level that I have, we never quite do enough damage. And this is one of those places where players looking at my advice and philosophy, this is where you would be augmenting what this account is doing. Because I'm intentionally keeping things at gear 11 for testing purposes. It's not going to be universal. There will be characters I take higher. I'm just still undecided about which ones those are going to be. Because as my main account works on different larger requirements, like right now what I'm considering Sith Eternal Emperor. One of my favorite low gear counters is Imperial Troopers. By working on Sith Eternal Emperor, I'll no longer have low gear troopers. So this account will be able to exist and showcase what gear 11 troopers are capable of doing. So that's where I'm thinking. But I'm also thinking about going after Starkiller on this account because I think especially after those characters become accelerated, that's going to be my recommendation for the first big goal that new accounts should be going after. Like, it's 4 R5s. That is way better than anything else. And you get a character that's capable of at least beating 1 GL. Yeah, this was a tough round. So with this portion here, you see the shortcomings of this Treya squad. It's just not ready for prime time yet. Like, none of the Zetas. The Zetas are pretty important on Treya, both of them. You can see the gear levels are too low to handle Verso, especially with all those shared stats. Oh, let's move to the large screen again. This Padme squad, this is where I made some realizations where I could have played this a little differently. I don't even remember what order that I attempted all this in. Part of the problem here is I don't even have enough good speed mods yet. We're still working on getting all those, getting depth in that arena. And I don't have the Zeta on. This was a mistake right there. Oh wait, no, this worked out great. What am I talking about? There's a different match I'm thinking about. Or maybe we don't beat Kenobi. Maybe I'm thinking about a different week. Yeah, don't know which match I'm talking about. This one worked pretty good. I don't know if we beat Kenobi, but it goes well. It's just, I don't know about. No, we should be fine. I don't think there's a reason that we can't win this. I just play it slow. Like, chucking that saber could, if it doesn't take him out, it would just make things more complicated. Just safer to just take it slow, pick them apart. So you can see we do get through that Padme team in one shot. It works nice. This is another place where maybe I try out Malik. No, I try out Troopers. I don't remember if this worked or not. I just remember the result of this match. I don't remember if like, in what way I got there. Probably deciding between Dark Trooper and Moff Gideon. Yeah. That's turn for Iden to start out at this start of this thing is too much to deal with. And you can see they're getting through Dark Trooper way too fast. The stacks have gone down. None of this is really working. See, Malik should work, but it's a gear level thing, and we don't have that Zeta. And I think this is probably all occurring to me, so I'm probably looking for a leader to pair with him. I'm going to go for Qui-Gon. There's no Anakin here. Oh, and there's no Omicron. That's not a big deal. I think I probably assumed there was an Omicron. And you know, it's probably time I put some You know what's stopping me from putting Omicrons? Is I can't put the Zeta on before the Omicron. For a lot of these characters. Because I just don't have enough purple ability mats. Because that's like why I don't have the Iden Ami yet. But I'll do it soon. Yeah. That was a complete waste of that CLS team. Probably would have been much better to use it up against Iden, but I assumed that there was an Omicron on Qui-Gon. I could have used him much easier too. I could have used Bastel. I could have done any combination of things. And CLS was probably my last option that would have been capable of dealing with Iden at all. So you know what I think I do? I think I do a combination Nest and Malik. I don't remember what I do. I either do Cura for the stacking damage. And Malik is a character with that second Zeta. Malik's going to work. The pieces are here. But there's so many turns that they're taking that they wouldn't have been taking if fear was being applied. That's just rough. I really hate how quickly they get through my nest. They're right there. Just a couple additional hits that wouldn't have been happening. One thing, I need to look at these kits because I don't understand why like Nest isn't dispelling, but that ability, that first special for Malik does. Because I think those buffs are from Iden are supposed to be undispellable. Maybe there's conditions that I don't know about or don't recall. I gotta look at that a little bit more. maybe the dispel from Nest is on the Zeta? I can't remember any of these things. I just know how the character's supposed to work. I don't remember at what level each thing comes in. And it's actually, I'm going to have a video out on the Zetas that I missed the most. Kind of like the top 10 Zetas for new account. It's all going to be Zetas where I've been annoyed to not have the Zeta throughout the development of this account. Yeah, for the final video of this, we're going to accelerate it. At least the battle portion. And you can see, like, all the right pieces are here. But a lot of these squads aren't fully developed yet. Which is also why a character like Aiden is so valuable. She's a character that doesn't need to be fully developed to be able to build a pretty good squad around. See, that's one of those things where if Django was the leader, I would have got Bounty Hunter's Resolve, and I wouldn't have died off then. But we weren't doing enough damage to take out anyone anyway. Am I done yet? There's nothing else worth doing. I might have done some other things. We're gonna speed this up because this match is basically over. I'm just throwing in teams at this point to see what happens. Here, I'm hoping that we can get to the aerial advantage. And it's something that would happen if these clones were more developed. They're not quite there yet. Rex and 5s are pretty good, but not really. The healing immunity is hurting me there, is what's going on. And there it goes. The dream is dead. Yeah, this is just trying things to try things. It's the type of thing where just that Zeta on Malik gets me a different result. Or if I had more bounty hunters, a better option for my Mando. I don't even get a chance to quit. Yeah, I'm gonna call it. That's all that's happening. Here are the results. Let's fix this camera. So he clears 3 territories. Geos take 2. No trouble on the back wall. I don't think any trouble on the front. There shouldn't be. That's a pretty easy territory. And you can see you can't get through my fleet, and that's where what I'm saying is fleet is consistently one of my bigger advantages. And it's because people don't build out fleet depth quickly enough. And it's something that I prioritize and consider important. Here's a look at his roster. Yeah, people wait way too long on fleet. And I've had a number of wins in Grand Arena because of that. Basically, just never get complacent. Always be working and continuing. Defense remains unchanged. We got Ewoks and a weird thing. There's a lot of nonsense here. Was this the guy that had SWGOH unlocked? Let me go back and check that. I was distracted. Yeah, this is the opponent with SWGOH. But his defense is nonsense. You can see his GP level is 2.5. I've got 500k more than this guy. He's got a really good roster, but he's just putting down unsynergistic stuff. Like, this is all nonsense. When he could just like throw down SWGOH and he'd be unbeatable. He could just throw down relics. But what I was saying earlier, account these sizes are usually keeping those things for offense. Since their rosters are usually so shallow, they can't handle other things on offense if they're relying on other parts of their roster. So we're doing, this is what I do on the main account. If I see Newt and Sept droids, I mean, we got Dengar in this version, but that's how we're handling it. Let me speed this one up again. I slowed it down to talk through the defenses and things. All right, we're at 1.5 speed. We'll try this out, and then we'll decide what's better. The first half of this video at normal speed, or this at a 1.5. I think we should just do 1.5. Turn these more into like 20-something minute videos instead of, I don't know, 40-something, 40, 50-something. Whatever this will end up at. I'll probably be closer to 40 since I'm speeding this third part up and part of the second part. The problem with these kinds of defenses is you always want to keep things for the back wall. You never want to use something too good. And that's how you get into trouble. Like, without the synergies, none of these are going to be in question. And there's the back. I thought there was Kyle on the back wall. I guess not. Yeah, so none of this is difficult. Is that really what I go with? Okay. I don't think I'd do that twice. I was probably thinking, okay, I could do something separate with Bosk. Maybe do Bosk lead with Mando. But Bosk still, it would have just been better for this. I don't like how weak my Boba Fett is. Basic for the double tap. I'm not getting to the contract fast enough. No, we get it. Alright, my Boba Fett's still alive. Yeah, this is the type of thing at higher gear, this is a win. Maybe it's still a win, but not as clean as I'd like. See, you're seeing me not use the middle ability, and that's because for a long time I didn't have that ability leveled up, so I kind of shifted in my brain that it wasn't that powerful of an ability on this account, which is no longer the case since it's now maxed out. Is the one thing to keep in mind here is this is not an auto deploy. Because if it was an auto deploy, SLKR would be on defense. He set those squads. And I don't get it. Alright, this makes sense. Use my highest gear team at my disposal up against the one team he has relics on his defense at least. I feel like I'm running out of steam. Yeah, just staying focused on Executioner and none of this stuff really matters. Let's say I only have one Zeta on JKR, so we're not getting the buff immunity, we're not getting the stun. But it's good enough. And that's all about what I'm doing on this account is if I can get squads semi-usable, I'm moving on to the next one. I want a good depth on my roster of semi-usable things. I don't need them to be perfect. We will max them out later. You can see the types of things that this guy's setting down on defense. Even if they were to have synergy, it's lower gear, it's not as threatening. Anything that I'm able to use up against it is giving me an advantage. I want to have more of those kinds of weapons available. Yeah, this was an annoying one. Yeah. So I think I win this fine. It's just an unnecessarily long battle. And it's another one where if I had that other zeta and was inflicting fear, it would have been far easier. There we go. Shock T against this nonsense. This squad doesn't have quite everything it needs, so in all the showcases of this so far, it's always been far sloppier than what they would be on an account if they were fully developed. See how little damage Shock T is doing. Part of that, I don't want to be using Kairos at this point. Do it. Just do it. No, don't do that. Fine, we're fine. That was a decision based on turn meter. Django, I didn't want to risk Django taking somebody out and just getting Bounty Hunter's result back. See, there he had no turn meter, so I felt a lot more confident about doing it then. Great. I'm gonna wrap up here with Fleet, and I don't know. I think I deleted the results. I'll show the Grand Arena history for the results. I had footage of it, but then when I was cleaning out footage, I think I forgot about it and thought I didn't need it. And there we go. Nice one-shots all around, I believe. And here are the results from that match. So we can do that on a different screen. So it was a win by not much. I played it a little bit cleaner. Geos up against Geos. He did Kylo up against the Darth Revan. Padme up against his Chirpa. Palp Ewoks. Kind of, I mean, I guess he has relics on a lot of these pilots, so that makes sense. Yeah, no, that wouldn't happen anyway. A good finalizer can beat Rebels. Hux, Old Republic, Bosk, Pad. He should put this Bosk on defense. Where's his SLKR? That's insane. He could have just soloed somebody and won the thing. Yeah, see, like, I got lucky. I played well, and my opponent did not take advantage of his advantage. It should have been his win, but we got it. And we will wrap it up there. This will be the start of an experiment. We'll do this for a little bit. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. But at least for a bit, we'll be doing this. Maybe we evolve this into another concept in the future. But yeah, this will be in addition to the video series. And I've got other videos coming out soon. We got to do our quarterly speculation. Thank you for watching. Be safe out there, everyone. Be excellent to each other. This is Still Plays Galaxy of Heroes.